In this video, you will see the connection between Jesus and the sun and what that truly means to yourself and how you can benefit from this understanding. There's a lot of conspiracies on the internet where people are saying that Christians are secretly worshipping the sun and it's all sun worship. It goes much deeper than that, which I'm going to explain today, as I found a lot of connections that I want to share with you all. So first of all, we must start off with the basics of Christianity and how that is connected with Jesus to the sun. Jesus is a sun god. He has 12 disciples for the 12 zodiac signs. He has 4 gospels for the 4 seasons of the sun. And Christians worship their God on Sun Day, for the day of the sun, because there are 7 days in the week. And there are 7 major planets to the ancients and the ancient systems. Sunday for the sun, Monday for the moon, Saturday for Saturn. Tuesday is associated with Mars. In Latin, Dies Martis means day of Mars. The Germanic tribes placed Mars with TYR, TYR. In Old English, TYR was used as TIW. The Roman god of Mars and the Germanic god TYR were both god of wars. They both represented combat and justice. Therefore, the word TYR, representing the Germanic god of Mars, was turned into Tuesday, TUES. Wednesday is the day of Mercury. Mercury is associated with the god Woden, or Odin. In Old English, Odin was turned into Woden. In Middle English, it was turned into Wednesday. In modern English, we call this now Wednesday. Mercury was turned into Woden, then Woden's Day, then Wednesday. Venus is associated with Friday, the day of Venus. In the Germanic substitutions, Venus was matched with Frigg or Freya, the feminine goddess of love, beauty and desire, love, fertility and femininity. The goddess Frigg or Freya was then later turned in modern English into Friday for Venus. Therefore, the 7 days of the week are named after the 7 classical planets. I've done a great video on the 7 planets and their esoteric meaning on my YouTube. You can definitely go and check that out if you wish to understand that a little bit further. But now you can start to see the relationship between Jesus and the sun. If we look at the Pope is always holding a sun trophy. If we look at the Vatican works as a sun dial. The sun shines at the central pillar, and the central pillar produces a shadow, showing you what time of day it is. Therefore, Jesus has 12 disciples for the 12 zodiac signs, 4 gospels for the 4 seasons of the sun. Jesus is always depicted with suns around the back of his head. Christians worship Jesus on the day of the sun. And even in spring, Christians have Easter, which is symbolic of Jesus returning from the dead. And spring is when the sun returns from the winter, bringing back the warmth and the light and the growth of crops. Easter is the true return of the sun, bringing back light to the northern hemisphere. The Jews call this the Passover, and they eat lamb. The reason they eat lamb is because the sun passes over the winter, enters Aries, and they celebrate the Passover, the spring equinox, when the sun returns to the northern hemisphere. They eat lamb because lamb is associated with Aries. This is what we call astrotheology, the connection between religious figures and the stars and the cycles of the heavens. And even when we look into the 4 gospels of Jesus and the Bible, we see that the 4 gospels are Matthew, Mark, Luke and John, which are all depicted with the 4 fixed zodiac signs: Aquarius, the man, the eagle, Scorpio, Leo, the lion, and Taurus, the bull. And in these old paintings of Jesus, you see Jesus surrounded by the 4 fixed zodiac signs. So now you can see the connection between Jesus and the celestial body of the sun. What does this truly represent? Is Christianity truly just worshipping the sun? I'm here to say that no, it goes even deeper. The symbolism of the sun extends further. The ancients did not worship the sun. They saw the sun as a symbol. If we look at the sun, what it actually does in our day-to-day life, we see that the sun gives everything that it has. All of its energy, all of its light is shining onto the earth, giving life, giving abundance, making sure everything grows and continues life and creation on the earth. All of the earth is dependent of the life force and the energy of the sun. And the sun does not ask for anything back. It just continually gives abundantly. Therefore, to the ancients and to esoteric and occultists, we understand that the sun is a symbol of pure unconditional love because it gives abundantly while asking for nothing back. And this is why Jesus is associated with the God of the sun, or the celestial body of the sun. And if we look at the old etymology dictionary, we see that the word sun and son, S-O-N and S-U-N, are interchangeable. They mean the same thing in the old etymology dictionary. And Jesus is the Son of God. The ancients saw that the sun is a manifestation of God's light, the creator of the world. His energy is manifested physically as the sphere of the sun. And even today, I can kind of see this, and I agree with that understanding, because the sun is literally the life force of everything. It is the manifestation of God's light, pure, unconditional love. It's really beautiful when you start to see it that way. And now, if we look at Christianity, now that we understand everything that I've just mentioned, of how the sun is pure, unconditional love, and Jesus represents the sun, and he is associated with the qualities of the sun, let's look at Christianity from a general, whole religion. Christianity, its core teaching is love, unconditional love. The Ten Commandments says love thy neighbor. John 4:16 says God is love. Jesus is a figure that represents unconditional love, a state of consciousness within a human that we should look up to and try to attain within ourselves. Jesus holds the qualities of the sun, which is pure unconditional love for all life, for all human beings, and he represents the way that we should live, with love in our hearts. And that is why I think Jesus and the sun are connected, because they both represent unconditional love. If you gave a Bible to a baby, or not a baby, maybe a toddler, someone who can read, and they go and read the Bible, you say to them, what did you gain from what you read? What do you think about the story? What's the general meaning behind it? Well, they would say it means love. Everything in the Bible is teaching unconditional love, which is the exact same quality of the sun. These are what we call chakras, and now a lot of people think these are new age things, but they're not. They're simply centers of consciousness which hold profound force within the individual. There are 7 chakras, and they are closely associated with the 7 major planets. And the sun is always depicted with the heart chakra being the center of love. In some systems, the heart chakra is not associated with the sun. In certain systems, they associate the sun with the solar plexus or the crown chakra. But based off my research and going based off alchemy, the sun is associated with the heart chakra, the unconditional love. And when we look at love, we can understand love can be understood as the core emotional force. We only truly have one emotion, and that one emotion is fractured out into many other emotions. Now let me explain that. Love can be understood as the core emotional force because all emotion arises from either its expression or its distortion or its absence. Joy, peace, and compassion are love in its open, harmonious state. Desire and attachments are love reaching outward towards something. Grief is love reacting to loss. Anger is love defending what it values. Fear is love trying to protect itself from harm. Even hatred can be seen as love inverted or wounded, where the original bond has been fractured. Which means, in this kind of sense, every emotion reflects a movement of love, either flowing freely, becoming obstructed, or turning upon itself, making love not just one emotion among many, but the underlying substance from which all emotional states emerge in varying degrees and conditions of love. Love is the central figure of the heart. Unconditional love is the heart. The heart center is pure love. And if we now go to the book of symbolism at the very back of the book, I know a lot of you have already read the book, we see that Jesus is always depicted in what we call the painting of the Sacred Heart of Jesus, pointing at his heart. It's always pointing at his heart, the center of consciousness that is associated with pure love. Now, that doesn't mean that the heart is fully purified. We can love sick and twisted things as humans, and we can see that in today's world. But what I'm saying is the heart is the center of love, and love is the generative force of all reality. I've made a great video on that also. That we only act on what we care about, and care is a form of love. What we desire is a form of love. Humans only act on what we care about. You care about esoteric knowledge, and this is why you take the action to watch this video. Love is the generative force that grows and expands realities, that makes you take actions. If you love a plant, you take the time to take action to feed the plant water to make sure it grows. So love grows things. It grows relationships between you and your partner or your family members. Love is the driving force of the universe. And when you start to see this, you see the world in a completely different way, that reality is created through love, and there is only truly love as the true core emotion, and everything is just different degrees of love. Now, going back to Christianity and Jesus represents the purified heart, the purified unconditional love for yourself, for creation, and all living beings inside of this creation. Because the heart is like the mode of consciousness. Whatever we feel is our mode that we are operating from. And when we feel fear or hatred, we start to think and reason from that place also. We start to think negatively when we feel and when we're in that mode of anger or hatred. Therefore, the mind and heart are interrelated. They work together, and the heart is one of the most powerful centers of consciousness, because it is that mode of consciousness that you operate from, that you think from, that you act from. It's the center, the core mode of your being. And Jesus represents that purified, unconditional love, thinking from that place of love, feeling from that place of love, acting from that place of love. 24 hours a day, Jesus is that perfect figure, that perfect role model that we should look up to embody inside our own mind and hearts. And now, I'm not saying I'm perfect, but I'm definitely working on myself, and I have been for a long time. And this is why we see the Sacred Heart of Jesus going back to this painting, because at the top of the image we see a halo around his head, which would be associated with the psychic center of consciousness, the mind, and then he's pointing at the heart, and the heart is emanating light, pure love, with his fingers crossed like that, not divided, crossed, symbolizing unifying thinking, the psychic abilities of our consciousness, and the pure unconditional love. Basically saying, when you think from a place of love, because that gives birth to perfect actions. Like I said earlier, you only take actions on what you care about or what you feel. You feel hungry, you take actions. You feel angry, you take actions. So it's basically saying that we should use the mind from a place of unconditional love, reason coming from love. And I read a book by C.W. Ledbetter the other day. He even mentions this. It's called The Hidden Life in Freemasonry. I read the book, and he even says that inside Masonry they teach that you should reason, use your mind from the place of love, the same teachings of Jesus. And that is what exactly he's symbolizing here, unifying mind and heart, thinking with the love of the heart. So I don't think, me personally, as being someone who's walked the esoteric path in life, that we should worship Jesus. Worshipping Jesus is like worshipping love. We should not worship love. We should aim to cultivate the love inside of our own mind and hearts. Jesus is a figure that we should embody. The way he thought, the way he acted, the way he felt towards people. We should aim to cultivate that mode of consciousness inside our own selves. Instead of worshipping the figure and praising the figure, we should aim to become like Jesus, or the Christ-like, which is basically what Christ consciousness is, and I've made plenty of videos on that. To wrap this all up, the reason why Jesus is associated with the sun is because the sun holds the qualities of unconditional love, and as I've previously mentioned, and that's why he is associated with the qualities of love. Everything he did in the Bible, Jesus is the same qualities of the sun, shedding light onto people, shedding wisdom onto people, giving people help, giving them life force, just like the sun does. It's all symbolism. It's not really sun worship. However, it's another symbol you have to break down to gain its true meaning, as there is layers of symbolism and codes that we have to decode to gain the true meaning. Like, for example, you can decode the the idea of Jesus being the sun. But then if you don't look any further, you think that Christianity is sun worship. When you decode what the sun truly means, you gain its true meaning of what the symbol means to inside of us. And we should aim to be like the sun, pretty much. There's a famous quote that says, keep the sun in your heart, meaning operate from a place of unconditional love. And if the world did this, the world would be a beautiful place, because the world is a reflection of our hearts. Whatever we desire, whatever we place our love